Hi, this is Angela Printer-Smith, Managing Director and Founder of This Is Milk and Neve Learning, and this is Angela's Talks. Today, we're going to talk about faking it until you make it. This is a problematic concept for me because in one sense, I do believe that we write our own self-story. We write our own narrative, and we have the power to become the person that we believe that we are, or that we believe that we want to be. So in acting certain ways and deciding that we're going to do certain things, we are effectively faking it until we become that person. On the flip side of it, however, I'm a huge believer in authenticity and just being who you are. So this whole concept of faking it until you're making it is a little bit problematic in my head. I think how I managed to rationalize that, though, is that the decisions that we make about the person that we are and the person that we want to be, if they are guided by your authentic self, they are still going to be a part of you. The limitations that you have as an individual right now are set by your knowledge, your experience, your ability to attract wealth, your ability to access certain things. What you do have control over, though, is how you deal with any given situation. Now, to give you an example of faking it until you make it that I think does really work is public speaking. I was a very, very shy child, and people don't tend to believe that, but I was a very shy child. And when I started kindergarten in Canada, they actually thought I was mute. I found it really difficult to make friends, and I certainly could not do public speaking. When I was a young adult and I was working at the student loans company in the evenings, I had to do a big talk to the whole department on a new initiative that we were bringing in. And I really struggled with this. So as a way of dealing with my anxiety, I went and I looked at people that I thought were really good public speakers. And I just decided, right, I'm going to copy what they do. So good public speakers do these things. I'm going to do these things. And as I kind of went through my career, through university and everything else, I had to do much more public speaking, even if that was just chairing a meeting. And by learning the tools that other people did to become good public speakers, eventually I became a good public speaker. And now I no longer even get nerves. I can stand up in front of a crowd. I do not even get nervous. I don't skip a beat. I don't need to over prepare. I just know my script and I know what I'm doing. And it's come through practice. And this is that whole thing about like the back of our brains is quite primitive. And it still thinks that a lot of the world is a threat. And so we respond to things like public speaking as if it's like a dinosaur going to come and eat us. Dinosaur isn't going to come and eat you, but the back of our brains puts that whole fight, flight, or freeze mode in. But by practicing and by behaving in a certain way, you're training that part of your brain that it no longer needs to be fearful, that a dinosaur isn't going to come and eat it, and that you can do this. And also how we learn, and this is something I've done a lot of reading over the last couple of years as we've been building Neve Learning, we really do learn through a learn, practice, teach. So if you learn something and you just absorb the information, you can't really your brain doesn't really retain that information until you've done it. So it's the application of the knowledge that means that the information will be retained in your brain. So this faking it until you're making it is effectively just part of the learning process that our brains undergo. So to my mind, it doesn't mean being inauthentic. It just means being intentful and decisive in the ways that you're going to apply the things that you're learning. And in that sense, kind of becomes less problematic for me. It also means that anything that you find challenging right now doesn't mean that you are always going to find that challenging. And it doesn't mean you have to limit yourself by what you have now. And I really dislike statements like, I'm a person who does like this. I'm a person who doesn't like that, because it's quite limiting. And you aren't necessarily a person like that. You have just chosen to lean in to that aspect of your personality in a certain way. And it doesn't have to be like that. You know, like, I'm a person who's a picky eater. You don't have to be. You could decide that you're gonna work on that and you're gonna try some new foods. And you know what? a month's time, you may no longer be a picky eater. So we are in control of who we are, and that doesn't mean that we have to really sacrifice anything with it. But that's all for today. And if you did like it, please do subscribe and let me know that you want to hear more. Thank you.